Hello, today's video is going to be doing fixing the Tom's MX5. I think the head gasket is gone. I did actually change the head gasket not that long ago and it was fine, but it's really bad now. It uses an awful lot of water and it overheats really easily, and pretty sure it's the head gasket again, or more likely the head is possibly warped. So we're going to start it up now. Hopefully it hasn't been driven for a couple of months, but I'm sure it'll be all right. Start it up, drive it to work, and then do a couple of tests just to perhaps a compression check and a few other things, and just see what's what, and then take the head off. And if it needs to be skimmed, then I've got to take all the head apart, which is quite a lot of work. Changing the head gasket just on its own is relatively easy, but if I've got to take the head apart, that might be a bit more work. Anyway, we'll see how we get on. So hopefully it'll start. Pretty good. Going on under the bonnet. Now I can hear both the fans are on. Oh, it stinks. Yep, it's pretty hot, so I'll let it cool down and then we'll see how much water is lost. Right, got it in the workshop, so we'll have a look and see how much water it's lost. It's been about, what time? Well, it's been a couple of hours, so still warm, but hopefully I won't get sprayed in the face by a load of coolant. No, we're okay. Well, there's none in there, so that's not good. I think what I'll do whilst we're here, we'll do a quick compression test, as it'll only take a minute. Not sure what size they're. Oh, they're the smaller size. I can't quite think where my smaller size socket is for the plugs. That's the fella. The threads, now you can see that the threads are starting to go, starting to pull the threads out in the head. We'll probably clean that up a bit, but the plug looks alright. Right, I'll get my compression tester. Wherever that is, here it is. I don't get to use this very often, really. Oh, 100, that's not brilliant. Oh dear, number 2. What about 50? Oh no, hang on, I'm reading it wrong. That was 10 bars, that was 150. So that was good actually. Number 1, 10 bars, 150 psi. Number 2 though is 5 bar, so that's 75 psi, which is that's not very good at all. Well, 100 psi, just over 7 bar. So finally, number 4. Wow, 150, 10 bar, 150 psi. So 4 and 1 are really good, and 2 and 3 aren't brilliant. So So at a guess, the head gasket's gone somewhere between 2 and 3 in a waterway or something. I don't know. That was number 4. So I think what we'll do, we'll take the head off, which is it doesn't actually take that long. I did it not that long ago, and it's relatively straightforward. Most of the stuff stays on the head. I think take the exhaust manifold off, but I think the inlet manifold stays on. And take the rocker cover off, just slip the belt off, and there's various other things. I might have to just quickly consult YouTube just to refresh my memory on what to do. But I think I'll do that, and then we'll have a look at the head gasket and see what that looks like. And then I did try and measure the head. When I did it earlier this year, I got the head off and I tried to get a flat, something on a flat surface and put a feeler gauge in to see if it was warped. And it didn't seem to be. I think I could get a 5 thou gauge in. I can't remember what it was now, but it didn't seem that bad. From what I could gather, it was within whatever tolerance it should be. So the head wasn't particularly warped, but maybe it would be a good idea to get it skimmed anyway. We'll see what the head's like, the head gasket's like. But problem to get it skimmed is you have to take everything off the head, all the camshaft, the rockers and all that kind of stuff, the valves, which obviously is a whole load more work. Or maybe not, I don't know. I'll ring the place up and see. We'll see. Let's take the head off first and then see how the head gasket is and take it from there. Okay, well, we've got the head off. That didn't take too long. I think it took about, I bet it was an hour and a half, because I kept stopping to do bits of work and stuff. Pretty quick, really. And I didn't bother looking it up on YouTube. I just sort of guessed, and it's relatively simple. So anyway, did that, sorted that out. So here's what we've got. This is the head gasket I've fitted, and I think it looks perfectly all right. We'll come back to that. We'll have a look at the head. Let's get you over here. So here's the head. Let me just see. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. Let me just put it up on its end. Hang on, this is making a bit of a mess. There's oil spilling out everywhere. There. Right, let's have a look. Let's get a torch. So we can have a good look. It's a bit dark in here. Right, I guessed that there's a problem between 2 and 3. Well, it all looks pretty good, really. Well, let's have a look at the head gasket. So that was like that. It fits in that dowel there. Well, I'm not too sure. I was expecting it to be really bad, either a gaping crack in the gasket or some obvious sign, but I'll have to have a better look now. I won't bore you with me prodding around looking at it, but so I'll have a quick look now and I'll report back in a moment. Hang on. Right, I've kind of found the problem. Well, I found where the water's getting in. It seems to be the head gasket that's the problem, which is odd because, like I said earlier, at the beginning of the year I changed the head gasket because it had a bit of a leak. I couldn't find a problem then, but changed it, and then it was perfect afterwards. It didn't leak, it was just tip-top. But then it slowly got worse and worse, and then obviously today it was pretty bad. It used loads of water, and it was steaming and horrible and overheating. So I thought it naturally sounds like the head gasket or a warped head or something like that. Anyway, the head seems perfectly all right. I've just sort of cleaned it up, and where I think the problem's going to be in between number 2 and number 3, here it just seems fine. It's all clean and nice, and there's no issues at all. However, I'm just looking at the head gasket. So if I just take the head, that's how the head gasket sits. So let me get the torch. Where's the torch gone? I've lost the torch. Oh, here it is. Right, on the head gasket, just there, you can see it's a bit rusty. So that's obviously in between number 2 cylinder, number 3 cylinder, and that waterway. And then on the actual block, you can see it's rusty there as well. So that all corresponds. So it's going between, well, that's number 2 cylinder, that's number 3 cylinder. So it seems to be going between all of those. And if you look at number 1 cylinder's nice and sooty, number 4 cylinder's nice and sooty, but 2 and 3 are all been steam clean, so they're obviously getting water in there. So it's all pointing towards an issue here. So either I think I'll just check that the block's not got a dip in it there. I don't think it will have. I think this is a multi-layered tin gasket. What might be better would be to fit a composite gasket, which is, you know, it's made out of composite material, more like a normal gasket like you'd have on the water pump housing or whatever. Not cardboard, but I don't know what they're made out of. Anyway, but they're not thin layers of metal. They've got a bit more give in them, I guess. So what I'll do now, I'll just try and find a straight edge somewhere. I don't know what I've got that's straight. I'm bound to have something. Find a straight edge and just put the feeler gauge in and see if there's any warp of the block or the head. I mean, it still could be the head. I'll do that now and then see. I'm guessing they're going to be okay really, and then I'll look at ordering a composite head gasket, because this gasket was just a normal one. I just ordered that from the motor factors when I did it, and I think the gasket that came off was the same as this as well, a multi-layered one. Yeah, you can see it's just made out of thin, 3 or 4 thin layers of metal. But I think it'd be nice to have a composite one, because you know you're sort of squashing it and hopefully it's going to seal, whereas I think this might be the problem. So I'll do that now, have a quick measure, see if everything's flat, and then look at what's involved in trying to order a composite head gasket from somewhere. Okay, I think I'm getting nearer to finding the problem. I've found a flat edge, you know, flat surface, a straight edge, that's what I'm looking for. So we can measure the if there's any warp in the block, not the block, the head, and I think there is. So let me just show you down here. So this is the head. It's obviously inside of the head. Managed to borrow this from Tom next door, which he says is very, very flat, so that's good. So that bit there, this feeler gauge is 0.1 of a mil, which I think is 4 thou according to that. So if I put that on there, you can see that the gauge won't go through there, won't go through there or there, but it'll just go through there. So obviously that bit's higher, and that's where the water was all leaking through. Now if we try this one, oops, yeah, that's fine. Let's try back here. Yeah, that's fine. Whereas that one, yeah, it goes straight through there. So it's obviously a bit bit of a high spot there, so I'll send it away to be machined. I rang up the machining place yesterday, and they can actually do it with the valves in, obviously as long as the valves don't stick out. So I'll have to take all the inlet manifold off and the camshafts and various other little bits and bobs, but I don't have to take the valves out, which is quite good because that'd be a load of mess and work putting them back together, so don't have to do that. And I think I said it was £35 plus VAT to get it done, which seems pretty good. So that'll take a few days for them to sort that out. So I'll send it away, send the head away to get it machined, order a new gasket. Oh, that's it. I tried to look for composite gaskets. There just don't seem to be any. They're all the metal, multi-layered steel metal gaskets. Maybe you can get a composite one, but it seems very, very difficult. So I'll just stick with a new gasket. But I think that now I've done that, I'm quite confident that that's the problem. So get it machined, and then in a couple of days' time, get it back and put it back together. So you'll join me then. Bye. Right, a few days have passed, and we've just got the head back, and so it's all nice and shiny. And I've ordered a new head gasket, that cost a lot of money. It was something like £40 just for the head gasket. I'm sure the one I had before was half that price, but maybe this one will be a bit better. I don't know. So new head gasket, and here's the nicely skimmed head. I'll get it out of the box. Yeah. Yeah. So that's all super shiny and hopefully dead flat and very clean. Wow, look at that, spotless. So what I might do is, when it had all the manifold on it, and what else was on? Oh, the camshafts and the followers and the manifold. It was really heavy. It was quite difficult to actually lift it off, but obviously I did it. But what I might do now is build up just a bit of this, probably just the thermostat housing, and there was another housing at the back, and then put it on properly, and then I'll fit the manifold and the camshafts when it's actually on the car. I think it'll be a lot easier to fit this in bit by bit. So yeah, so I'll make a start and do that now. Okay, I've changed my mind a bit, and I've actually built everything together on the head on the bench, because it was so much easier to get to the inlet manifold, the nuts and the bolts. That I could have done it in here, but it would have been a pain getting under here to get some of the nuts and bolts to hold the inlet manifold on, and obviously leaning over to do the camshafts and all that kind of thing. So I thought I'll do it on here. So I've put it all together. There was quite a lot to do. I didn't bother filming because it wasn't that interesting, but putting the cam followers in, and the camshafts, and the end caps, the gears on the front, thermostat housing, inlet manifold, and the injectors. All really simple, but even easier when it's on the bench like this. So that's what I've done now. Put it all together, and I've just cleaned up the head. Let me get a torch. I've just cleaned up the block, so that's all nice and shiny clean. Head gasket fits on these little dowels. So that's it. So now all I need to do is lift the head on and yeah, bolt it down and put the rest of it back together, which I'm hoping will be quite easy. So I'll do that now. I'll do that on time lapse, because you don't want to be watching it in real time because it's a bit dull. So yeah, I'll do that now. Okie dokie, well, I've put it all back together, and it's everything sort of seemed to fall into place, so it was pretty easy getting it all back together, and I've gone over it and I'm sure everything's so I haven't tried to start it yet. That's what I'm going to do now. I've put a bit of water in it. I'll probably drain that, get it going, let it get warm, and then drain that out, and put some fresh stuff in. So I think we're about ready. it seems to work. Well, I'm pleased with that. It's well, so far I'll have to obviously take it for a bit of a test drive and see what happens, but it all went together okay and everything fell into place. Luckily Tom was around just to help me lift it on, because like I said, I put the manifold and everything together when it was on the bench. It just seemed a lot easier, but that makes it quite heavy, so it's quite difficult to lift it on. But Tom just happened to be passing by, so he gave me a hand with that, which was made it a bit easier, and everything else just lined up. I think, what time is it now? I bet that's taken 2 hours, something like that. Maybe no, about 2 hours, maybe a bit more. Took less than 3 hours to put it all back together. It was, I can't remember, a couple of hours to take it all apart, so not long at all. So now what I'll do, I'll get it warm, take it for a bit of a drive, see what happens, and then drain the water out and flush some nice new clean water in the new antifreeze. Maybe change the oil as well, although it's probably no, I don't know, anyway. But yeah, so that's it. Good old MX5 hopefully lives to fight another day. So hope you enjoyed this video. Not a bit different, and yeah, keep liking and subscribing, and I'll try and do something interesting soon. Okay, bye.